Hi, I'm Rachel Watkins, and today I'd like to introduce you to Emily Brown of FIAT Life Coaching. Hello, Emily. How are you?
I'm so good, Rachel. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am so excited, Emily, because FIAT Life Coaching is one of the sponsors of our upcoming Catholic Homeschool Virtual Conference. We're so excited to have your support with us as a sponsor, but I'd like you today, tell us a little bit about life coaching. I'm sure it's something that people have heard of, but aren't necessarily very familiar with.
Oh, that's such a good question. So working with a life coach is going to be different than working, say, with a counselor or a therapist, because while counseling and therapy is so beneficial, and I have tons of experience with that myself and was helped tremendously by that experience more than once in my past to deal with hurt and pain and trauma that happened to me when I was young or in my early parenting years. I really got to a place in that relationship where I was kind of done, where I kind of graduated, where I was doing pretty well. And I felt kind of stuck. Like I had more that I wanted to do, more that I wanted to create with my life. I knew God was calling me to do more, but I didn't have a way forward. I couldn't really name what those goals were. I didn't really know what that I wanted that to look like. I just knew
Mhm.
that I wanted to create change in my life. I knew I wanted to be like a bigger version of myself, I guess, not in
Mhm.
a grand showy kind of a way, but just I just knew that I wasn't done yet. I knew
Mhm.
I needed to do more. And so when I discovered life coaching, what that did for me was it gave me the tools that I needed to be able to name what those goals are, to really discover what I wanted that future version of me to look like. And I like to think of it as like my saint self. Like
Mhm.
someday, this is the kind of person that I really want to be. I really connect with the saints who really struggled in their life and had lots of problems and temptations along the way. Because that's really been my journey as well. And so when I could see their journey, I can read the lives of the saints and I can see, oh, wait a minute, they were really, struggled a lot
Mhm.
and they were able to do it. Maybe it's possible for me. And just having that shift of I'm kind of stuck. And that's kind of, that was a lot of what
Mhm.
counseling and therapy did for me was help me get kind of out of the hole of that I was really found
Mhm.
myself in. And then coaching was able to help me go forward and be really future focused and create more of the life and the experience of my life that I really desired.
Well, I'm grateful you mentioned that because life coaching is not spiritual direction that some
Mhm.
people are familiar with, and it's not therapy, but it's someone that you can talk to who has no expectations from you. You are there to help them. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. I was just sharing this with you before we recorded. It's like,
Mhm.
I don't know what's right for my clients. I really don't. I don't have the answers for you for your life. You do. You have that wisdom. That is a gift of the Holy Spirit that was given to you at baptism and sealed in you at confirmation. And we really end up blocking God's wisdom when we believe a lot of lies about who we are, about our
Mhm.
identity. So, part of what I do as a Catholic life coach is I help root you back into your daughterhood as a beloved daughter of God. And I help you have more acceptance for what he's offering to you, what he's inviting you into, right? So there is as a Catholic life coach, I do incorporate our faith. I try to saturate our
Mhm.
coaching with the Catholic faith, rooted in the sacraments, and our marriage, our primary vocation has that primacy of place as we move forward together, even as a homeschool
Mhm.
coach. But when it comes to um, you know wanting to move forward, making excuse me, as a life coach, I don't know what's right for you, but I can help you unpack
Mhm.
what is right for you, help you tap into that wisdom that God gives you. Because really, when you are stuck in all the things you're trying to control, it's kind of like putting your hands over your
Mhm.
ears, and the
Yes.
Holy Spirit's trying to tell you what to do. And you're like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I don't know what's
Mhm.
happening. Right. So I
Yeah.
just kind of help you put your hands down, notice that you're doing that, and then help you decide how you want to move forward with his help.
I like that you mentioned this because I want your life coach experience to be one and done. I will spend an hour or so with you, Emily. You will fix all of my problems and I will move on. But it's
That would
not
be
like that, is
amazing.
it? It's a process.
Yeah, it is a process. It is. And the reason for it is because you have a lifetime's worth of habits that have created results in your life that you don't really love right now. And if you want to create new experience of your life, if you want to create new habits, if you want to move toward long-term goals, those are not one and done type.
Darn.
Most of us do not have one and done type goals. And if
No.
I have yet to meet anybody who does. So
Oh.
no, this isn't a relationship that we begin. And we know by the time I am done working with clients, when they choose to move on from our coaching relationship, I just consider most of them, I just consider such dear friends and just have such a fondness and an affection for. And I think it goes both ways that you create such intimacy and so much trust with that person. And again, it's so different than talking to like a girlfriend or your mom or a sister, because they are invested in like what you should do, right? They have a lot of things that you should try. When we reach out on Facebook and we ask for suggestions
Yes.
in our homeschools, what should I do? What worked for you? How do I get my kids to focus? How do I get them to stop rolling their eyes at me? Things like that. You have all of these beautiful suggestions that can be so helpful, and they can be so overwhelming because you can't really piece through all of the advice to know what's right for you. So that's what I help you do, is I'm that neutral third party who gets to just hear exactly what it is you actually want and help you achieve that. And you get so much faster results, and you enjoy the experience along that journey so much more, because you're not wasting a lot of time second guessing and doing unnecessary research and side conversations and second guessing and all of that.
Well, one thing is I've investigated life coaching, even for myself, it's you don't know who I was, so you have no expectations. Like your mother views you as as a child, a sibling might view you, whether you're the oldest or the youngest. And then I also thought of that one and done comment we made. Even Paul, granted, he was knocked off the donkey and that was a life-changing experience, but God then called him to a time away and he went and built tents or something for a while. So life is a process. Now, as you've done this, you've had clients now. What do you think are some of the biggest benefits that individuals or then even families have seen from the time they've spent with you as a life coach?
Oh my gosh, how long do you have? Oh my goodness. So gosh, let me just take a second here. So I've spent a lot of time in ministry doing youth ministry. I've done young adult ministry. My husband and I have helped in marriage ministry. We used to do baptismal prep. We just absolutely love the church, and we absolutely love. I kind of say we're like winning the world back for God's kingdom, one family at a
I
time.
love that. I love that.
So that's what I do, is I work with the mom. I love working with Catholic homeschool moms. I love working with all women. I have women all across the board that I work with. I've even worked with some teens, but I love working with the mom because mom sets the tone in the home. Okay, so when mom doesn't feel good, the whole house is kind of on pins and needles, or everybody is prickly, or if mom has been having kind of a rough week, the whole family starts to reflect that, because mom tends to be the one that everyone regulates their emotions to. So if mom is regulating her emotions to, the kiddos having the hardest day, right? If we become kind of emotionally regulated to that kiddo, then the whole house follows suit. So then we're all melting down like the toddler.
Yes.
Or we're all rolling our eyes and snapping like the teenager, or what have you, making mischief like the 9-year-old. So we just kind of all need to like learn how to calm down our emotions. I really love helping moms become more aware that their emotions, that how they're feeling during the day, not only are driving their actions, but they're 100% within their control. Like we tend to unintentionally blame our kids for how we're feeling, and then we react, right? And I just help you kind of go brrr and like rewind the tape a little bit, kind of have, we have more awareness of what happens during our day so that you can shift and be more intentional about it. So really I would say the biggest benefit to working with me, as at least as your life coach, is that I intentionally help you put your life back in right order, because our lives become very disordered when we're trying to do lots of things. We're focusing on maybe not the most important things because we're trying to outwork those emotions. I just help you shift all of that back in right order so that you can fill up with the Holy Spirit. I think about it like a 3-tiered fountain. So you're the pipe with God. We fill you up so that you are good, you feel calm, you feel connected to God, you know exactly what it is you want, and you're so filled up with Him that you pour out into the top tier, which is your marriage. And then you
That's
pour out.
beautiful imagery. I
Isn't that
love
great?
that.
You fill that tier up, and then you overflow into the next tier, which is those are your children. And then the next tier after that is all the tasks and all the to-dos and all the other relationships of life. But what happens is we tend to try and do it in the other order, which is why we feel drained, literally. It's why our kids are not getting our best selves, and it's why our husband gets like the drips left over that might get out there at the very end of the day, maybe. So
Well,
I
I
help
love
you kind of seal up the leaks in the pipe.
I like that imagery so much. That's going to be in my heart now. And the reason I like it is because everything is a do-over. You know, we can start over again, that we don't have to stay with mediocrity, and we don't have to stay sad or think, well, this valley of tears. Some of us cling to that a little too much. We think this is it. But interestingly enough, the gospel today is, I have come that your joy might be full. And I hear that in your voice within your ministry. Well, I thank you for this time, Emily. We want to keep this short and sweet because I want to encourage everyone, please go to your booth at the conference. But as we wind it up, right now, I'm encouraged. I'm like going to think about life a little differently now with that image of a fountain. But could you share a few more words of encouragement to the moms who are out there doing the primary education? And like we said, the boots on the ground, they're in the trenches, you know, chief cook and bottle washer. What might you say to them to help them feel a little bit better about the vocation that God has given them?
Yeah. I truly believe that if you are homeschooling, it's because you've been called by God to do it. I don't believe that everyone is called to do it, and I do not believe
Yeah.
everyone should. So if you have heard that call and you are saying yes, I just want to thank you for that, because this is not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of courage. And if you don't feel like you're doing it well, that's probably not true. It's probably one of the lies that I mentioned earlier, that you're probably actually doing a lot better job than you think you are. And I want you to just get really curious about what it is you're believing, right? When we have thoughts in our brain, our body fills up with emotions. When we have a big emotion, we tend to believe that thought. So what are you believing? Okay, what are you believing about you? What are you believing about your job? What are you believing about your kiddos? Right? And is all of that true according to God? We always want to check in with Him in His eternal view, because the work that we do as moms has eternal consequence. And so, not to lay like a heavy burden on your shoulders, but to just know that what you are doing in this moment matters, and you want to be intentional about it. Okay, so having more awareness, getting really curious, I call it kind of being a saintly scientist, and then deciding intentionally what you want to do next. That's all within your control, and it's all worth slowing down and doing really intentionally. Your family is worth it, God is worth it, your marriage is worth it, and you are, again, you're doing a better job. I never even met you, and I guarantee you're doing a
Yes.
better job than you think you are.
That is true. As a longtime homeschooler, I know I need to hear that more often than I do. Well, thank you again, Emily. Again, this was Emily Brown with FIAT Life Coaching. She's a sponsor of the upcoming Catholic Homeschool Virtual Conference. It's June 9th and 10th. And if you haven't registered yet as an attendee, I hope you do. You can just head over to our website, CatholicHomeschoolConference.com. And when you are an attendee, spend some time, go visit her virtual booth. You'll have a chance to navigate the map, see all the vendors we have, but I think spending some time with Emily might be good for all of us. Thanks, Emily. God bless you. God bless the work that you're doing and your family. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. God bless.